Hi everyone, it's time for another video. This one is going to be a voiceover because let me tell you, this painting and just today in general has been a little bit rough for me. I'm not sure why, it's just one of those days, and it was absolutely coming out in the original sound of the video. You could hear, not that I'm in like a bad mood necessarily, but I was just very frustrated. The painting was not going at all how I had planned. I already had to actually start it over completely once because I didn't do the sky dark enough, but I had already like kind of rubbed in clouds, and I knew if I tried to paint over that, it would just probably, you could probably still see it, and I didn't want that. So I completely started over one time, which is fine. That happens. That in and of itself was a slight inconvenience, but not the end of the world. But from there, it just seemed like everything I was doing was wrong for what I wanted to be doing, like for some reason, and that happens and that's okay, but like sometimes it just seems like no matter how hard you're trying to paint something and no matter how many times you've done it, I've done this style of painting before, it's nothing new to me, it just seemed like I could not get things right. Like this foreground turned out way darker than I anticipated, and I'm not even, I don't know, I didn't clean my brush, and that that was a mistake. And so I had to go over this way more times than I wanted to, because instead of pausing and cleaning my brush and letting this foreground dry, I kept going over it while it was still wet. And I don't know if I ever actually, I did switch brushes here. So this is a new brush, but I'm just picking up some of that darker color. So I needed to take my own advice and just slow down, take a breath. I should have walked away maybe for a few minutes and let myself kind of recenter, but I didn't do that and ended up very frustrated. You can see here I just finally was like, okay, I let it dry and then put down a bunch of white, and it worked so much better. And it still, to me, doesn't end up looking quite right, but there's a point at which I'm just like, okay, you know what, that's gonna have to be good enough. I'm going to overwork this painting. I'm just frustrating myself more. I'm just going to let it be what it is. And so then I started doing my little evergreen trees. These didn't turn out the color that I was having a rough time today. And I want you guys to know that that is okay, whether in art or just life in general. It's totally normal to just have a day where every single thing frustrates you, where nothing is going the way you want it to. And unlike what I did in this video, it's okay to step back and refocus and try again some other time for things that you have the time to hit pause on. So we get there eventually. The painting comes together just fine. It does end up being a very somber painting, I would say, so it does end up kind of reflecting my mood, which totally fine, because that's the point of art, right? To kind of express yourself when maybe you're having trouble expressing yourself in your actual life or whatever. So it does end up being a very sad painting. And it's not that I'm sad, it's just, this is a difficult time of year for multiple reasons. So here I am putting in a little fence in the background just to give something back here. And I will say that even at the end of this painting, I do feel like it seems a little unfinished, and maybe it's one of those ones that I will revisit in the future and add something to and just fix it in some way. But for right now, I just let it be where it was, because I knew if I just kept going and kept trying to figure out what I wanted to do, that was just going to completely ruin it. Like here, I started putting this down and I was like, that's the wrong brush. And I was like, no, you need to stop, you need to switch. And so I switched to a round brush, which just looks better to me. And you can see the top is a little imperfect. It's a little messed up. And over here, I put way too much white there. And so I ended up having to go back in and fix that. And then finally I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to add a bunch of snow and I'm going to call this good so that I can go drink some coffee and relax. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you so much. Have a wonderful day.